road truck. These are on the roads that will take cargo probably to a destination within 200 miles. These trucks are no more than 5 years old. They have to have the latest engines, low pollution burning diesel. We have no old clunkers anymore driving around the port. All the trucks are new and clean, on and off the port. The way it works here, there is no ship and there's part of the dock, but cargo is coming in. Most of this cargo is what's coming in now, you see, is for export. Empty containers or containers that have cargo for export will go on the front of the dock, and as they unload the ship, the cargo they're taking off the ship will go to the back of the facility, where it's much easier to manipulate it and load it onto trains or onto trucks that are going off the road. Just a matter of interest, the Harbour Commission has adopted a budget plan of about $1.1 million for the fiscal years 2013-2014. This is one of the port's largest annual capital improvement programs in our history. About nearly $4 million, or 37% of that budget, is going to be used to support about 8,500 jobs, of which we do the major construction projects in and around the port. For example, this facility here, this is where I said was evergreen. What we're going to spend here is about $96 million behind evergreen, which backs onto APL, and we're going to do what is called backland development. We're going to put in more surface areas, more stacking areas for containers, more access roads. I was talking earlier about the trucks at Longshoreman Drive, and if you look on the side now, you will actually see these small UTRs, or universal trailer receivers. That's a white truck with a flashing red light, white light on top of it. Basically what happens is the ship will come in, the cranes will put alongside. Under each crane there is a designated roadway. So for example, this ship has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cranes on it. There will be 7 designated roads underneath each crane. As the small truck comes in, he will have lane 1, lane 2, lane 3, lane 4, and that's the only lane he will move in. The operator of the crane will swing the cargo back into lane 6 or 7, and there will be a truck there waiting to pick up that cargo to take it to somewhere else. These gentlemen that work in these cranes are very well paid. They make up to $250,000 a year. And it's important that they have the best guys unloading these containers, because it costs the ship so much money to stay in the port. At the moment the ship isn't making any money, it's not going anywhere, it's already had its cargo paid for, so it wants itself unloaded, reloaded and leaving. If you look up in here, you see a variety of colours of containers. The only ones that are really of any significance are the white ones. The white containers are temperature controlled containers. They're like refrigeration trucks. They have a small motor on the back that will be plugged into the ship, and they can move goods that need to be climate controlled. If you're bringing in, say, vegetables or salads, or you're moving meat or fish, it needs to be in one of these containers, and it will be in a contained area. Once it's unloaded off the ship, it will put onto a truck. It will be able to plug into the back of the container and keep the temperature at all times at the correct level. This ship will probably have a crew of about 18 people. You see this small vessel in the middle there, the orange vessel? That is their escape pod. If you saw the Captain Phillips movie, that's what they use. The 18 crew will work on 3 watches. There will be 3 deck officers, 3 helmsmen, 3 engineers, and the rest are cooks and bottle washers. The bridge we're about to pass underneath is the Vincent Thomas Bridge. This is the 3rd largest suspension bridge in the state of California. The first one is the Golden State Bridge. The second one is the Oakland Bay Bridge. This is the 3rd one at 2 miles long, Los Angeles. Vincent Thomas Bridge, named after a councilman, Vincent Thomas, although locally it's called the Saint Vincent Thomas. He wasn't a saint, he was a councilman. He raised money for building the bridge, and when the bridge was built, the local newspaper said, "Bridge to nowhere." But literally there was nowhere to go on Turtle Island. Now it's one of the most major arteries of here. We have over 30,000 trucks a day that pours over this truck, taking goods from the Turtle Island into the infrastructure of Southern California. This next facility is, in my case, a Japanese steamship company, the Grand Alliance. We are with Hapag-Lloyd, Northern European Company. OOCL is out of Hong Kong. And in my case, Japan. We are spending about $78 million in the construction of rail yards and rail facilities on this project to bring them up to date and make it easier for the loading of containers from the dock onto trains. Overall, the port is spending a large amount of money, somewhere in the region of about $90 million for what is called the AMP program, Alternative Maritime Power. And what we are doing is we're digging trenches alongside the docks, putting electric cables into them, so that when the ship comes alongside the dock, it can lower the cable down, be plugged into electricity, switch off all its generators, all its engines, and run on electricity provided by the port. This reduces, once again, the pollution that is coming from the vessels. vessel we're about to pass now, the Hapag-Lloyd vessel, this is from, actually came from Europe. This is one of the few container ships that can actually pass through the Panama Canal. This actually is 13 containers wide, the Panama Canal is 110 feet. This ship is probably 108 feet wide, so there's very little leeway when these vessels go through the canal. When they're opening up the new Panama Canal, it will allow even larger vessels to pass through the canal, so the port is hoping to pick up lots more of these larger ships coming from Europe or South America. This ship probably carries something in the region of 3,500 to 4,000 containers at the most. Down the channel, you see two bridges. These are for relatively railway bridge and the second one is a road bridge. We're actually the closest to the east of the road bridge or a fixed bridge. This way when the vessel has to go out to the channel, it won't interrupt the flow of goods coming up to the island. The vessel you see, the orange vessel with the outriders, this is what is called a self-loader. This vessel is actually unloading its own cargo onto the dock. I believe it's unloading steel in South America. Directly ahead of it, you'll see all these small privately owned vessels. We have over 4,000 small privately owned vessels within the secured area of the port. With a headache for our police, but we manage as best we can. Talking about police, as we make the turn here, you'll see the fire station down there, and in front of the fire station some small outboard motors. This is our new police academy. We are the only one on the west coast of the United States of America that is specially geared up for training police officers that are involved in the marine environment. Those who learn about new weapons, informed detection, how to deal with smuggling, goods coming in, goods coming out. We have just passed the Valnut vessel that was in Southern California's largest facility. We have the world's largest electric motor. Grinds cars into small pieces, it spits out, and then we export that to Brazil, Mexico or China, where they melt it or use it for product. Now we've completed that turn. There are two orange units standing on the dock. These are vacuums. They are vacuum slut pumps. And basically what happens is when a cement ship comes into the dock here alongside, cement is in powder form. The nozzles from these units are lowered down into the hold and they suck out all the cement and transfer it to the building next door where it's put into bags or bales and then moved on to the construction areas in Southern California. This next facility is what is called an omni facility, which means it carries and handles a variety of products besides containers. At the moment, the ship is unloading steel. If you look on the dock, you see slabs of steel. Probably inside this warehouse, it's got rolls of steel. It's probably got pallets of plywood. These are all things that are too heavy to put inside a container. The steel here, once it's unloaded, goes onto a specially reinforced carriage, which is then taken to Fontana, where they have the Kaiser steel mills. They reheat the steel, re-roll it, and make it into American products. We are one of the few ports in the world that allows ships, while unloading cargo in a port, to actually take on petroleum product for their return journey. And here is an example of it. This is the barge, and it's just like a floating gas station. What it's doing is it's giving the ship fuel to return to its port of origin. If you've ever driven from here to Palm Springs and you've seen all those large windmills up on the hills, they all came through this facility, probably on a vessel just like this. The actual blades of the windmills are about 100 feet long, so they bring them on the decks of these vessels as deck cargo, unload them, put them on the trucks, and then take them up there to reassemble them. Here again you see the steel just stacked up on the dock here. There's a bit of a longshoreman humour here, and you can see the sign, Wilmington Beach. Directly behind that you will see those large white silos. This is the second piece of property that's not owned by the port. This is owned by Rio Tinto Mines. This is a product that's brought down from the High Sierra Mountains. This is borax. It comes down from the town of Boron, and it is exported in a white powder format. It's used for the glaze on contact lenses, glazes on china plates, silicone chips. It's used as a fire retardant, washing product, washing your clothes. Boric acid is made from it. It's also used in makeup. Pond's foundation cream and lipsticks also use it. This next facility with all these domed units inside is a tank farm. As I said, we have a variety of these scattered around the port. Underground, they're connected by pipes to the various refineries. We have a tremendous underground connection of pipes throughout Southern California. Fuel can be pumped around from one refinery to another, many, many miles away. Not only do they store it in here when they receive it from incoming vessels, but they store it when they've refined it, waiting for export. When we come to the end of the channel, this is called the Mormon Island Light. This is named after the Mormons who came in here in the middle of the 1850s, 1860s. Prior to the American Civil War, they were transmigrating from the east coast to the west coast by ship. They built a small encampment here. During the American Civil War, the federal government had them help build wagons, wagon wheels, boxes, carts and things. After the Civil War, when Phineas Manning came here, we decided we wanted to put a small pier or dock down here. At this moment we're about 2 miles from the ocean. This is all river, meandering river and flats. So we had them build a small dock. You got a federal grant to dredge the water to 10 feet, so the sailing boats could come up to here to unload. And from here they were taking mainly lumber, getting down from Oregon, for the building of Los Angeles. One of the most famous people that actually worked for Phineas Manning, he was what they call a teamster today, but in those days he was called a grey man, was a chap called Wyatt Earp. At the age of 16, Wyatt, with his brother Frank, They worked down here on the docks, taking the lumber from the port to Los Angeles. After they made enough money, they decided they were going to have a more adventurous career, and they took off to New Mexico, Arizona, and became gunslingers, gunfighters. And eventually, when Wyatt decided to retire, he came back to Los Angeles, and in his dying years, or his older years, he actually got into the movies with a chap called Tom Mix. The clock tower you see here is one of three. There's one here, one in San Francisco, and one in Hawaii. The Hawaii one is called the Hawaii Aloha Tower. It was built by the Matson Steamship Company, and basically what it was is they were bringing fruit, bringing bananas, pineapples from Hawaii, so they market here in Los Angeles and going back empty. So by building these units, they thought they could take people back to Hawaii and start a tourist industry. So up until the late 60s, early 70s, the only way you could get to Hawaii, or in fact anywhere overseas, was by ship. Now the facility is too small for our cruise ships. We use it for a storage facility in the downstairs area. For the Los Angeles Sunday Times, we keep their blank script inside there, their blank rolls of white paper. Directly ahead of us is China Shipping. This was our first customer that we actually went into partnership to create the AMP program. We persuaded them that we would give them special dispensation if they would try out our new program. We actually put a transformer on a barge, brought it out behind one of the oldest ships, plugged the power into the dock, then plugged it into the transformer and gave them the end. They ran it, they liked the idea. And then slowly as new ships were built, they all had transformers built into the ships. Now all ships have transformers. The rest of the world liked their idea. There was a national meeting in Europe about the AMP program. It was decided that all ports would have a standardized plug. This way it would be easy for the ships just to lower one plug over the side and not have a variety of different ones. Unfortunately, the plug they chose wasn't the plug that we came up with, so we had to change all our plugs to comply with the EU. The end of this facility here, this where you see these trucks now, we just spent about $36 million extending this pier by 300 feet so that we can now allow two of these large China shipping vessels to come alongside and unload simultaneously. The cranes you see here, they were also built by ZPMC in China. They are now too small for the large container ships. So we're actually in the process of making these cranes taller. And if you look down the slip, once we've gone underneath the bridge, you should see some yellow equipment. We're going to cut these cranes' legs and jack them up about 30 feet, and then put the extension piece inside them. The small boats you see here are part of the Catalina Express Corporation. They take passengers from here to the island of Catalina. If you haven't been there, it's well worth the trip. You can go to Avalon, stay in a boutique hotel for the weekend, or if you're more adventurous, you can go camping in the Isthmus. They have a small bar there, and you can go hiking and go take pictures of buffalo.